Bill, Senate File 908. I didn't have the mic on, so I'm going to say that again. The Senate Labor Committee will come to order. It is 5:24 on March 27th. We're back from recess, and we're doing Senator Kupec's bill, Senate File 908.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate File 908 deals with the broadband. So this is a bill we passed last year, knowing that there is a considerable amount of money coming from the federal government and the state government out into Minnesota to get broadband to all parts of our state. And we realize that this is something we need to move on, make sure that that happens. The sooner we get broadband out there, it is an essential utility now. So the bill we passed last year, though, had a few issues, one of them maybe being the date of getting this done, whether we could get the workers trained up with the safety requirements that they needed in that amount of time. So we've come back this year. Several weeks ago, we had a very large group of people get together between construction workers, labor unions, and the broadband installers. And we kind of got together and shared concerns, issues, ideas, and then from that, we whittled it down to a much smaller group of people and kind of went to work on trying to find, the proverbial peace in the valley. Myself, along with Senator Dornick, led that group, and I am happy to announce that we have come to that agreement. And so with that, I would like to offer the A4 amendment.
Okay.
I have a lot of amendments here. There it is. A4.
Senator Kupec moves the A4 amendment, and then would you like to just explain the amendment?
Sure. One of the things that we worked through on this does a couple of things. It changes the bill and puts it back to the 40 hours of training that we had put in the bill last year. It also then pushes back the start date of when that training has to be accomplished by. And it also sets out some certification standards and says that if you have met those certification standards, you can put that towards the 40 hours that you have that needs to be training for this bill.
Are there any questions on the A4 amendment? Senator Grunhagen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, so basically you have a grandfather clause in there, correct? For people who have been with the experience, is that correct?
Senator Kupec.
You can call it that. We've been preferring it to call it, like learned experience or something like that, I think.
All right, well, as long as you have peace in the valley.
But if you like that, you can call it that.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the A4 amendment? All those in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion prevails. Senator Kupec, then with your bill as amended, did you have more comments or you want to take your testifiers?
We can take our testifiers now.
Okay. Then I'd like to call maybe two at a time. We have Kevin Pranis and Melissa Wolf. And then after that, we'll have Tom Hansen and Jake Schweitzer. And if you, this seems to be a pretty bipartisan bill, so if you want to just take a minute, because some of us have dinner plans.
Some of us have to drive a long distance.
Please go ahead and, please go ahead and introduce yourself, whoever's going first. Kevin.
Thank you, Chair Pappas, committee members. Kevin Pranis on behalf of Leona, Minnesota, North Dakota. As folks know, we represent 14,000 men and women who do construction work, including broadband and other underground utility installation. And I think, unfortunately, Senator McEwen, Chair McEwen isn't here, but we want to express to everyone here, first, our great appreciation for the work she did last year in bringing this bill. I think that, not every bill becomes substantially more popular and clearly important with time, but this one, I think since last year, it's become very clear it was an important piece of policy. It's going to make Minnesota safer and also allow for a continued efficient installation of broadband. We were asked to do, sort of Senator Kupec, Senator Dornink and others had asked us to sort of come together and try to figure out to make sure that we landed in the right place in terms of implementation. I can say that this bill represents an improvement on last year's bill in terms of feasibility. We did not weaken the standards, but we are making sure that there's adequate time. 3 important changes that we made to the bill: removing language that was interpreted as requiring potential excess staffing that you didn't need, the 2 certified individuals, which isn't necessary because we've made clear who has to be certified. Second, allowing individuals who had already received classroom training from an approved provider, but before they were approved by DLI. So as an example, Minnesota Telecom Alliance is doing already confined space training. That's going to be part of their training for this program, and we didn't want people to have to repeat if they had done it 6 months earlier. And third, I think most importantly, moving the compliance deadline to January 1st, 2026, and I think one of the important reasons for that is while there were not enforcement provisions in the original bill, we have since heard from a lot of cities and counties that intend to enforce it rigorously, and so it's then very important that on July 1st we not have a situation where on July 1st contractors are unprepared, and it seemed reasonable to allow until January 1st for that to be done. And then just appreciation to Minnesota Cable, Minnesota Telecom Alliance, many contractors, our utilities, I think CenterPoint and others that were part of this conversation, and Department of Labor and Industry, who has been incredibly efficient rolling out this program. There are already 7 approved programs for training. We have already conducted several training classes. I know others are starting their training in April. So this thing is moving. We have model legislation, and I am certain that other states are going to be looking to Minnesota because we have heard that similar issues are in other states, and that this is a way to kind of like lift the industry and support the good actors in this space who are doing it right, and make sure that they're not being dragged down by folks who are not. So that's all I have, and open for questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for all your hard work on this. Ms. Wolf.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair and members. For the record, my name is Melissa Wolf. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Cable Communications Association, or Minnesota Cable. I'll be very brief and just kind of add to what Senator Kupec and Kevin have said. I do want to thank Senator Kupec and Senator Dornink for their leadership and time and energy that they have put into this bill. I also want to thank LIUNA and the 49ers and all of the other stakeholders that have been involved in this process. As Kevin said, this represents many meetings and hours of stakeholder engagement and represents a true compromise between all of the entities that have been involved in this issue in the last year and a half. Safety is and will always remain paramount for cable providers, contractors, and our other industry partners. The underlying law passed last year was very well intended, and as an industry, we have been striving to comply with the program that was created. This amendment helps ensure that Minnesota will have a qualified, certified, and compliant workforce in the field, and that we will do so without interrupting broadband deployment or the BEAD program. So appreciate the committee's time on this bill, and we would just ask that the bill move swiftly to the Senate floor so we can avoid any unnecessary chaos and confusion. So thank you so much for hearing the bill today. Appreciate all your help and support, and happy to answer any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Wolf. I would like to now invite Mr. Hansen and Mr. Schweitzer to join us for their...
I don't believe Mr. Schweitzer will be here today.
He's not here.
We decided to,
Great.
keep it
So
short
just
for you.
Mr. Hansen for his... He doesn't need to testify either. Wonderful. Any questions for Senator Kupec? Then your motion? Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Dornink.
Madam Chair, so just from the first time we got to the room when there was, 40, 50, 60 people, and this was probably a month ago, and there was like 7, 8 of us that got together from that group, and Senator Kupec, it was a pleasure working with you together. And this is the way government is supposed to be. It's to work together, to listen to both sides and let them figure it out. And that's what you guys did, is you figured it out. I know not everybody's happy, but there is peace in the valley. And thank you, Ms. Wolf, for all your hard work. And Brent Christensen, who's not here, and Mr. Pranis, and Mr. Thorson, and Mr. Pollard. It was good to work with, and to be honest and working through, and sometimes the conversation's a little more blunt, but we got to to be, when you go through those times, you become, I think, closer, and in the big sense of things, it's better. So, again, thank you, and I'm excited to pass this on to the floor and get a little bit more stability and safety, but also, with the timing, it was a big concern, and it was just rushed, and appreciate the slow things down and to make it right. So, thank you to all.
All right, Senator Kupec for your motion.
Sure. Are we, well, let me just ask, are we sending to the floor, or are
Yes.
we sending it, or are we going to go to ag and broadband? We could, yeah.
We're,
I mean, if we're just, it could be a formality.
depends if they ask for it.
Madam
Senator
Chair, I
Dornan?
thought Senator Putnam wanted to go to ag. It's got broadband is in the title, so I would think we would send it to ag.
To ag, okay,
Right.
right.
That was the original plan, just because
Okay.
it is the name of the committee, so probably should get it.
I thought you were in a hurry to get it to the floor, so that's what I
Yes,
thought was.
that is the intent, is that we will go to the Agriculture Broadband Committee, and then
Okay.
they will vote it off to send it to the floor, but they do have some jurisdiction over this, so.
Go ahead and make the motion.
Okay, then I will make the motion that we send Senate File 908 to the Committee on Agriculture Broadband, and I forget what else we have on there. We also have veterans, throw it in there too, sure.
Senator Kupec moves that Senate File 908, as amended, be recommended to pass and sent to the Ag and Broadband Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion prevails. Thank you, Senator Kupec.
Thank you.
Senator Oumou Verbeten. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have an author's amendment, the A1 amendment.
Senator Oumou Verbeten moves the author's amendment, A1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion prevails. Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate File 2360 will strengthen our efforts to measure and prevent misclassification fraud in Minnesota, and the impact that it has on workers, taxpayers, and public programs. This bill really is about literally measuring the problem that is misclassification fraud. As a reminder, misclassification fraud is when an employer illegally treats a worker as an independent contractor when they should be an employee. When you're an employee, you get minimum wage, overtime pay, you can access unemployment insurance if you get laid off, workers' comp insurance if you get injured at work, paid time off if you're sick or need care, and your employer pays half of the payroll taxes. So those are all the things that are important components of being an employee that, folks miss out on when misclassified. There are definitely people who are self-employed, freelancers who are in business for themselves. Key differences are that they negotiate the terms, payment, scope of each contract and job, can, book a business and a customer base, and they are independent contractors, and the law treats them as such. But the impacts of misclassification fraud are not just for a worker, for all those items that I listed before, but it really does steal from programs like unemployment insurance, the Workforce Development Fund, payroll tax revenue, really cheats taxpayers out of hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And that can also raise the rates for law-abiding businesses who correctly classify their workers. Additionally, those law-abiding businesses and entities are forced to compete and bid against companies that are artificially and illegally reducing their costs by cheating workers and Minnesota taxpayers. So this bill, again, to measure the problem, comes as a part of a larger set of recommendations adopted by the Attorney General's Task Force on Misclassification, which I've served on. We have spent the past 14 months listening to workers, businesses, learning from our enforcement entities and our agencies, and really trying to understand this problem that spans across our entire economy. We know that misclassification fraud is a problem that is growing, but it would be very helpful to understand how big the problem is and how much it's literally costing taxpayers and our workers. We know in 2007, when the OLA said that it was a problem, there's the report that 1 in 5 employers have misclassified a worker. Very conservative estimates there, and then we had the 2024 audit just showing that problem was growing. There was also a recommendation in that report that the legislature should direct agencies to calculate misclassification rates on an ongoing basis. So again, that's what this bill does. It requires a biannual report that measures the problem of misclassification across Minnesota. We're really looking at how much it's costing workers, taxpayers, and our budget. And the bill allows DLI to contract with external experts or an independent third party to conduct a study or develop a report. And then there's a blank appropriation in here right now to DLI. Fiscal note's been submitted. And would just say again that this is, I think, the right time to pass this bill, just knowing the increase of fraud being that is happening on our public programs and consumers. It's really critical that we have a measure of misclassification fraud that is stealing those wages and benefits and public dollars. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Senator Dornick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the path of the bill, do we know where it's heading next?
Taxes.
Taxes. Will it be going, Madam Chair,
Senator Dornick.
will it be going to jobs? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But going to taxes first? And in jobs, right. Right, yeah. Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Senator Dornick, sorry.
Senator, so I'm going to ask the question about the third-party review. Let's see, it's on first page there, line 1.11, 12, and 13. Could you tell us a little bit about that, how that's going to look? And independent third party to conduct a study, develop a report, and perform other functions.
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator, for the question. Yes, so again, for context, we've been discussing this issue in the task force with the agencies that currently do enforcement. And there is likely a need to work with some external experts who may have some of that expertise on being able to calculate the things that we're looking to calculate here, from an estimate of the workers experiencing misclassification to the prevalence in certain industries. Just being able to have the experts at the table who can help us get the numbers that we're trying to get is the reason why there's the bill explicitly allows the Department of Labor and Industry to contract with those folks.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. So then I'm going to, at the minimum, the study and report must provide, and you have a long list of things. I would like to add, maybe not now, but sooner, or maybe later, but adding one line to those that are misclassed by mistake and those that are blatantly. So if we're going to get an accurate account, we need to find out which are which, and that way we're not lumping them together. So we know, because there's going to be people that are businesses, small businesses that don't know, and they're not intentionally doing it, and we don't want to treat them the same. And I know that was talked about in some of the fines too in another committee, but a different bill that you had. But this one, would you be open to that?
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator, for the question, and definitely understand that as we talk about this issue more broadly, that there's a lot of education and outreach that we want our agencies to be doing, especially for our smallest businesses. And there is a lot of that work ongoing so that if people are making mistakes, they're able to correct that. But I'm open to that, would love to continue having conversation. Just want to make sure I connect with the other stakeholders around this bill too.
Senator? Okay. Thank you. All right. Senator Oumou Verbeten, would you like to move that Senate File 2360 as amended be approved and re-referred to the Tax Committee?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So moved.
All right. Members, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much, Senator. All right. Does everybody know what happened? Okay. Members, I would like to move to reconsider the motion to recommend and re-refer Senate File 2775, which is the bill that we heard earlier today in committee, to the Committee on Health and Human Services. My intent in making this motion is, instead of having it go to the Committee on Health and Human Services, I would like it to go to the Committee on Human Services. We had a little bit of a confusion there. So my motion at this point is to move to reconsider the motion that was made earlier and approved to recommend and re-refer Senate File 2775 to the Committee on Health and Human Services. And after that's approved, I'll make my next motion to refer it properly. Are there any questions about my motion? Did I explain myself okay? Senator Kupec, would you like me to explain it better?
No, just at the end, we sent it to Health and Human Services. You want it to go to Human Services.
Correct.
Okay, that's
You got it.
Clear.
So my first motion is to reconsider the previous motion. Any other questions? On that motion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion is approved, passes. Then I would also like to move that Senate File 2775 be recommended to pass and be re-referred to the Committee on Human Services. That is my motion. Any questions or discussion? Senator, yes? Very good. Well, you'll get another shot at it. All right. All right. On that motion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. That motion passes. Thank you. All right. So next up, we have Senate File. Oh, wait. No, you did it. Oh, everybody. You all are way ahead of me. That's wonderful news.
Madam Chair, when the chair is away, the committee gets things
Wow,
done
I
very
guess
quickly.
so. I guess so. Well, thank you everyone very much for a wonderful amount of work today and for all of your patience. With that, the Senate Labor Committee is adjourned.